Hello and welcome to Real Chat. I'm Mark.
And I'm Sophie.
And today we will be chatting about a film tipped to win big at the Oscars. Stay tuned for
Sentimental Value. Sentimental Value is a Norwegian drama directed by Joachim Trier that explores family relationships, memory, and the emotional weight of the past. The story centres on two sisters, Nora and Agnes, who reconnect with their estranged father, Gustav, a once celebrated filmmaker. When he returns to the family home with a script he hopes to make into a film that reflects their family history.
As the project develops, unresolved tensions surface between the sisters and their father. As Gustav attempts to get his film made, the characters are forced to confront old wounds, personal regrets, and the complicated ways in which art can both reveal and reshape family memories. So then, Sophie, we have watched The Worst Person in the World before this, and we were told, you've got to watch Sentimental Value because that is a brilliant film. Loads of people are saying it's going to win an Oscar. Yes. First of all, how do you think it compared to The Worst Person in the World?
Well, I think both films definitely had loads of emotional themes, and I think they portrayed those emotions really well and in such a raw and real way. So that is something I really did like about both of the films. I will say Sentimental Value is a lot quieter, I think, than The Worst Person in the World. Where The Worst Person in the World, the character's emotions are more overtly spoken and you hear her feelings, or she does things and you can see how she feels. But with Sentimental Value, it's a lot more unsaid, but when it comes to the acting, you could read the emotions on their face without them having to say anything or do anything that reflects the way they feel, which I think was a really powerful tool when kind of evoking emotion out of the audience. And definitely in my case, I thought this was a great film and I definitely shed a few tears by the end of it.
Okay, and both films share this incredible actress, Renate Reinsve, though in Sentimental Value, the narrative is split between at least four characters. I know we have Gustav's mother, who is a kind of character off screen, who has a tremendous presence. There's also, talking of characters, the tone and style of the film, it starts off in the house. The house is...
It's a character in itself.
Yes, it has this presence, doesn't it? And Gustav, when he... this is after the death of the mother, and the sisters, find him in the house unexpectedly. And he has this plan of making his film and basing it around the family home. And this is where the whole tension and the emotion comes from. And we do go back in the past as well, don't we? So it's not just about what's going on in the present. We get these wonderful transitions in the house that are incredibly smooth and work really stylishly. We find out all the things that have gone on in the past, or rather, we get hints about the sisters' previous... their childhood and how that might have affected their relationship with the father, because we do know that he leaves when they're very young. But it's never fully explained, but that Nora, the elder sister, does accuse him at one point of running off with actresses, doesn't he? Which makes the making of the film even more tense in some respects. Because how did you feel about Gustav, this father figure who comes back?
Yeah, his character, I definitely think, has a lot of complexities and layers to him, because in one way he shows how art can be used as a tool to communicate and express and try and process stuff like trauma.
Because he does it through his film, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Through his screenplay. Yeah.
But at the same time, he also shows how destructive art can be, because he does use it in a selfish way. And even though his art helps him through things and can help others, he prioritizes himself and his art over, other things that are, arguably much more important, like his family.
Yeah. And by the way, this role of the father, Gustav, is played by Stellan Skarsgård. who I just remember from Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
But he plays something far more intellectual in this
Yes.
film. Yeah, his presence, he's tipped for the supporting actor Oscar, and he could well win it. I found his character to be still distant and a bit cold, a little bit. There's something a little bit. I found something a little bit sinister about him as well. The suggestion of the actresses earlier when Elle Fanning comes in, because not to give too much away, the father wants his eldest daughter to play the main role in the film, and this happens very early on in the film, and she doesn't want to play the role, so he turns to Elle Fanning, this up and coming American actress, who's she is in love with his filmmaking. She sees one of his old films, and all she wants to do, she is delighted to spend time in his company. And so Gustav sees an opportunity there. Well, if my elder daughter won't play this role, I'll get the best American actress or the most famous American actress to do this. How did you feel about Elle Fanning in this, her role?
I think just with her performance, I think it was incredible. I think she did a great job at like presenting a character who doesn't feel as though she fits into the role that she has been told to play, because there's a scene where she reads out the script, and even though her acting of the character wasn't bad, you could just tell something wasn't quite right. And I think she does such a good job at doing that.
It was brilliant.
Like, it was such a powerful
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
And I honestly, it was really brilliant to watch.
And the way she was portrayed as well, because she could have been this cliched up and coming out, looking for an Oscar bait film, a bit like Sentimental Value, to expand her career. But she genuinely is into the art. She's genuine into the film, and she wants to do the best to the point where she feels that she might not be able to play the role. I thought this film was definitely more accomplished than Worst Person in the World.
Yes.
However, I think if I'm comparing the two films, I think Worst Person in the World for me definitely had more emotional impact, and I felt brilliant though Sentimental Value is as a film. I think it still kept its distance. There were some wonderful scenes. I've got to say, the scene towards the end with the two sisters was phenomenal, and really hit home. But I have to say, afterwards, I wasn't thinking about this film 2 or 3 days later in the same way that I was with Worst Person in the World. Worst Person in the World got under my skin, and it was his. I suppose it was his the big hit that really put him on the world stage. We're talking about, obviously, the director Joachim Trier. He's done more films than that, and we've got to see some more. He's definitely a director to watch, and we both thought that Sentimental Value was an absolutely cracking film. My criticisms are that it didn't quite go as deep as it promised. What did you reckon? Out of the two films, Worst Person in the World, Sentimental Value, which one would you rank higher or lower?
I think that I prefer Sentimental Value, even though I think both films are phenomenal and I love them and I enjoyed watching them. I think that the reason Sentimental Value is just that bit better for me is because I felt like it was one of those films that I could sit with and really think about a lot more than The Worst Person in the World. And that is just a personal thing for me because, again, like, you know how you spoke about the distance between them, between like yourself and Sentimental Value. Like, I definitely understand that, and that is probably why I was so drawn to it, because it made me want to understand the film better, and so it made me think about it a lot more than I did with The Worst Person in the World. Because as soon as I watched The Worst Person in the World, like, I felt like I understood it already, or like there wasn't much more to it than what I'd watched. But I felt different with Sentimental Value, and I guess that's probably why I preferred it.
Yeah, I thought, as I said before, the Sentimental Value is definitely it's a quieter film. You said that. but brilliantly constructed. And I love the way everything came together in the end. It's a fractured narrative, but you've got to stay with it because it does kind of reveal itself at the end. I can see why people are making quite a bit of a fuss about it. Right then, it's time for us to do the scores. Okay, here we go. These are our scores for Sentimental Value, 3, 2, 1. And I gave it an 8.5. What did you give it?
I gave a 9.5.
A 9.5. Incredible. See, I would have done it the other way. With Worst Person in the World, I was going to give that a 9.4.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I really felt that's brilliant. It is a great film. We both of us highly recommend it. Go and see it. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye.
Bye.